Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to the latest episode of the series of Fortunate Events podcast brought to you by Miss MeMeCherry. And I am joined today by, I think, most returning guest in the history of the podcast.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, podcaster herself, comedian, thirst monster extraordinaire, and snake killer, Andrea Allan. And the crowd goes wild.
Hi, good to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yay. How are you doing? Happy COVID.
Good COVID to you. Yep. Ooh, what a life.
Hope COVID is mild.
I mean, I had it. It wasn't mild, but
we're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
If only all of us could get the Trumpito COVID, but anyways, did he even get it at all? So you have your own podcast. You have the Hot Mess Comedy Hour. You have Only in New York. You also help. What's your official title over at the KTG Landia?
My official title was producer, but unfortunately I am no longer working with them. So, but wonderful people, good stuff. I worked with them for many years. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm a little gobsmacked. Well, but what I do know is happening is that Hot Mess Comedy Hour is having a live Halloween show.
Yes.
Zoom. Tell me all about it. What can people expect from your Halloween show?
I mean, first of all, me and Emily are going to do a couple's costume. We're very excited about that. I, of course, will probably be the male character per usual. And yeah, we're just going to tell a bunch of different Halloween stories. We want people to come in their costumes to hang out with us. You know, obviously, big COVID Halloween parties are not going to be happening. So, you know, we kind of want to just meet everyone online and have a good time. So, yeah. I'm excited for it.
Until you said that, I was going to guess Sunny and Cher, but then that doesn't work out because I imagined you as Cher.
Thank you. I know, right? I know. There's no way Emily would be Sunny. Yes. It's a pretty spooky one.
Yes. Well, so you kind of have mentioned it. Might as well get into it. 2020 is 2020. It's 2020 all up in the house, all up in the party. It got you caught up in its whirlwind. You are in New York and you were one of the earliers. Like you're one of the people when I say that I know somebody that had COVID, you're on that list.
Oh, an early adopter always. I'm so ahead of the curve.
All about the beta testing, right?
Oh, yep. You on trend,
survived it all
baby.
by yourself?
Yeah, I did. I got COVID in March. I believe I was already quarantining by the time I started feeling the symptoms, which I'm very #grateful for that I didn't, spread it. Yeah, I may have, but not to the level that I could have. And I was already quarantining in my apartment in Long Island City. I live alone, so it was just it was a really, I'm grateful to obviously have, not suffered any major health consequences really. I mean, my immune system definitely took a beating but in terms of I wasn't hospitalized. I didn't have some people are, had strokes. It's just such a range the way that this disease affected people. So I didn't have that, but I was alone in my apartment and my mother was calling me every day just being like, are you dead? And me being like, not yet.
You thought about going to Canada for half a second, right? When they would all started kind of getting a little loony and impending lockdown. But then, I guess in a weird way, it was probably good that you stayed because you might have taken it with you.
Yeah. Well, there was a window of time that I could have gone to Canada and then they closed the borders. But it's so weird to think back of that period of time, late February, early March, when there were whispers about it, obviously, and it's so despicable that the government knew so much more about it than they were telling us. Because I would have been behaving completely differently. I was doing shows. I kind of had this attitude about it of oh, is this going to be kind of like another SARS situation where there's an outbreak and then it's contained, but it doesn't spread, in the way that it did. I was just I was very ill-informed. And then, yeah, by the time that I could have left, I was already sick. And I just kind of was like, all right, you're toughing it out. It was particularly psychologically very, the lasting effects of it are probably psychological, especially when I was reading about like Italy and New York in my own city, like bodies in U-Hauls, and, you know, because there's not enough space in the funeral homes, and people dying alone in hospitals and not being able to, you know, choose who gets a ventilator. It was like, that disease is in my body now. And I emailed my doctor and was like, should I go get tested? And she basically was like, no. First of all, like, where are these tests? You couldn't get one, you know. I mean, maybe you could have, but in terms of like easily being able to get one, no fucking way. And then the idea of going to the hospital, I really had to spend every day being like, okay, when do you decide to go to the hospital? Because if you maybe don't have it, then you go to the hospital and you might get it. Or like maybe you have it, but you're a relatively young, healthy person. So, you know, the gall of like taking a hospital bed and the risk of taking a hospital bed when, again, like it was everywhere. So it was just, yeah, this sounds dramatic, but there were thoughts of like, am I going to die alone in this apartment? And
I don't think that's dramatic.
who's going to, yeah, I guess it's not, but like, am I going to die alone in this apartment, and who's going to find me? And, you know, it was so weird in New York because you're surrounded by people all the time, but no one can come help me. Like, and I don't want my friends to come help me. I don't want anyone to put themselves at risk. So I was very fluish and fucked up, foggy mentally. You know, the fever and chills factor was like the really, I guess, like, what's the word for it? Memorable or specific part of it, where it was like, oh, this is different than a flu, because I'm going to take a shower to like get I'm freezing, I'm getting my body temperature up, and then I'm covering myself with blankets, and then I wake up and I'm covered in blankets, and I've like sweat through everything because my body temperature is just yo-yoing in a way that I've never experienced before. And motherfucker, at the end of it, first of all, thank God I went and got a bunch of food beforehand, because what would I have done?
Yeah.
But I got my fucking period like 3/4 the way through. I had no supplies. I was out of underwear. I was out of like regular ass towels. I was washing my clothes in the bathtub like a fucking weirdo. So I hit a point where I'm like, I have nothing to absorb this. So I'm just going to lay here in my own fucking blood.
It's like you become a feral animal, just like, I guess
yes!
I guess I live in the tub now.
I guess I'm this fucking blood-covered disease rat, and I have no options.
Andrea.
I'm like, are fucking cats going to find me and eat me? Probably. Fuck.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it was very, I grew up in a lot of medical crises, so I know what this is like, and which was helpful to me in one way, because I was very able to be like, take it day by day. Don't, again, these decisions about like going to the hospital, not going to the hospital, like, I was able to be quite calm about it. But then running parallel was also this fear of like, I'm going to be in a hospital again. Yeah. I'm going to be in this horrible place where I'm sick. And it's just like, mental health wise, I don't think, and afterwards, just like processing it, and being alone, I just don't know how to even describe it really. Like I feel like it was going so slow, and it was also going so fast. Like I look back and I'm like, I can't even think about, I don't even know how I fucking handled that, to be honest.
Isn't it crazy that it's like, it's this year? Like,
yeah,
that was just like around the corner.
Oh, this year has been so fucked up beyond belief.
I know.
Oh,
And so you make your living as a performer. So, that has been heavily impacted, and you pivoted and adjusted and had to
Sure.
make some changes. What has that been like?
I mean, all of us comedians and podcasters, I think, kind of went through a similar wave of fears. Like, the first fear is, are we going to lose all of our sponsors? Because businesses are tanking left and right. And luckily, I do feel grateful that I have been a podcaster and a comedian, because because my performance has been online. Like, there are some people who are only comedians and everything has been taken from them.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who's been in both worlds for a while, I went, oh, thank fucking God that some of my income does not depend on me being in a room filled with people.
Yeah.
So we lose like a Stitch Fix sponsor, and I'm like, yeah, no one's ordering a fucking work blazer. That's over.
No.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, RIP Stitch Fix. Sorry to hear it, but
Yeah, no, we're gonna be fixing our own stitches right now.
yeah, everyone's gonna be probably in their underpants for the next few years. So, God bless.
Yeah.
But we with our listenership, I actually was very touched by people kind of rallied around our Patreon, which I think is, especially because we're New York based, I think the listeners were just like, oh my God, Andrea and Emily are in New York, and it's like this crazy fucked up hazmat zone. Like, I think that I was really, really touched by the fact that the listeners kind of showed up for us, and by pledging to the Patreon, basically showed like, we want you to be able to continue. So that we couldn't have continued without that. And, it's kind of a necessity is the mother of invention. Like, we all figured out how to do Zoom stuff. I've been learning, more video editing based stuff. And I've just been, kind of trying my best to adapt to the changed environment. I think that I've been very lucky. I miss performing live in a comedy setting.
Yeah.
The way that comedy is, in my mind, quote unquote, supposed to be. I miss that dearly. However, I don't feel this like FOMO towards it, because it's just not happening for anybody. I mean, it's starting to now, but like, I perform outside. I perform on rooftops. Your bitch is out in parks screaming at fucking kids in the middle of the day. Like, and I'm grateful for it, but like, comedy needs ceilings. Laughs have to bounce off things. So we know
the energy.
What's happening. Yeah, it's just not. I have great appreciation for all the producers that are creating things outdoors right now, and I'm so happy to be included in things. But in my mind, I'm not like, oh, there's a stand-up. People's stand-up careers are moving forward right now, and I'm being left behind. In many ways, I kind of feel like, oh, I've been in this online world for a while, and now everyone's kind of pivoting towards what I do. So I feel, lucky.
Yeah.
I feel, and also proud. To be honest, myself and Emily have been like, we're proud of ourselves for how hard we've worked over the past years to make this thing that sustains us.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started podcasting, there were comedians who were like comics who were like, comedy's the only thing, and podcasting, you're selling. Like, there's sort of this attitude of like the purity of stand-up comedy, and it does feel kind of good to be like, oh really? Oh,
not so bad to be a nerd now, huh?
Yeah, exactly. right. To ignore the importance of being multidisciplinary is short-sighted. And so it's been a hard year, but I've also felt really confident about like the choices that I've made and what I've created so far. So,
well, brava.
Thank you.
You're also one of these. If I have it correct, you've been doing kind of like the safe, socially distanced over Zoom and like bench park kind of like COVID dating.
Oh, sister.
Tell me about your adventures in COVID dating, because I already was not dating before COVID. I was starting to get comfortable with the idea that maybe this year I might actually consider it. No.
Oh, what? What? You don't want to die for dick?
I already
Interesting.
almost did a couple of times, so I'm good.
Yeah. Dude, dick is constantly ruining my fucking life. I don't know why I still am even partially heterosexual. It's honestly embarrassing that I still play for that team. But God, COVID dating. Yeah. Well, the thing is, so I went through a breakup in December of last year with my partner, Dustin, who I'd been with for like over 3 years. Long distance for some of it. And there was a little break in the middle. And him and I are still very close. And it was, in terms of like breakups, it was the best breakup I've ever had. We really have like such love and respect for one another. It's just our lives are different, but
it kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Yeah, of course. We fucking rocked. He's a great man. Like, it's both like wonderful to be with a man who treats you that well, and then also devastating because, you're like, oh, now I have to go back out into the world. And a standard has been set for how I'm treated and who I choose to spend my time with, which is a good thing. But I don't know if you've met men. Oh my God.
When you stop being young, dumb, and trying to be full of cum, learn some lessons along the way. You start kind of like, it's like, the glasses come off and you see, it all starts to sound a little bit like womp, womp, womp.
Yes, standards suck, dude. Standards suck, but they're necessary.
Yeah.
You kind of have to like be okay with being more selective or maybe being alone in hopes that you'll have people who you enjoy their time. Like it's more about quality than it is about quantity. So, I went through that breakup. I was doing the fucking glow up. I was going to Equinox. I was doing the spin classes. I got fucking cast in a goddamn TV show, which then, bye. So,
oh my God.
So I had this like sick glow up trajectory that I was doing.
You're like, 2020 is totally my year.
I was fucking crushing it. I'm not even gonna front. I was just like, I'm gonna be a fucking sex symbol and on TV and then was promptly humbled, which is all of us were humbled, and also like losing a TV show is not anything compared to like losing your loved one, whatever. Like it's it sucks, but I'm alive, so that's that. But yeah, I had some partners that I met pre-COVID that I like virtually dated. We watched Netflix together, we chatted. It was such a weird time to try to connect with another human being because
a little recycled dick ain't bad sometimes.
We weren't sleeping together though. Like we were just virtually it's like I had all these pen pals who were like my partners, quote unquote, but we didn't have sex. It was very not platonic isn't the word, but it was almost like it was like wartime partners where you write each other my love. I yearn, like it's such a bizarre.
You went old timey love. War movie. I went Black Mirror, but yes, totally.
Yes, I mean it was like, and it's kind of romantic to be like talking to someone and being like, is society gonna exist? Who knows? Anyways, what's your worst memory of childhood? Like, what the fuck?
Did you vote in the primary?
I can't vote, bitch. I'm from another country.
No, I mean, but like, like that's your conversation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like one of them in particular is like kind of like an anarcho-communist kind of guy. So he's, God, I'm just like, communists are always filling all my holes. And he's telling me about like, revolution and I'm paranoid. I'm a naturally paranoid person. There were times where I'm like, am I dead? Have I had breaks from reality? Like I was so far into the like not well mentally category. The conversation, like, people were concerned about me. I was concerned about me. So at the same time, I'm like talking to these guys. It's just like this, it's a haze, to be honest. Then as the numbers started to drop, I didn't see date and go see people in public, anything, for probably like 4 or 5 months. And some dudes tried.
Of course.
I mean, of course, but like, I can't respect a man who has to nut so badly that you might kill another person or yourself. I actually broke up with one of them because he was this fucking poly motherfucker, and he had his partner and whatever, and he used to always kind of like paint me, when poly people like act as if they're like holier than thou and they're so evolved and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he always used to kind of like make me seem like I was some, because I was like a comedian or whatever, like I was some like amoral, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but he was always kind of like making it seem like he was a better person than I was.
Okay.
And then this motherfucker is like going to see his partner in Brooklyn, and he was like, well, since she was married to a woman, she's like, since her partner is already is an essential worker, they're already kind of like being exposed, so I feel like it's kind of the same. I'm like, no, motherfucker, like if they're taking risks, you adding additional risk doesn't
have you heard of exponential growth?
Right, exactly. And I'm like, you fake piece of shit. You just want to nut, and you're pretending that you're somehow morally superior to me. And it made me furious. And I was just like, hey man, I don't think, like, no judgment, quote unquote, although full judgment. Fuck you. I was like, I
trying to yuck your yum, but yuck.
But yuck, because you're a fucking nut busting murderer. Loser. Jerk off. Are you kidding me?
That's the thing. He's tired of it. It's like, ugh, my hand. It's so passe.
Privilege.
So last month.
Privilege. You have to get pussy that badly. You're disgusting. And so, this is like April we're talking about when he's doing this. I get that people have limits, but like, we were fucking in it, man. And so I was like, I don't think I can see you anymore. And he was like, will it make you feel better if we do like a socially distanced picnic on your roof? And I'm like, what do you, what part of me being like, I don't like that you see people and I think it's actually really fucked up, and then him being like, well, why don't we see each other? Like, how is that the anecdote? No, what would be better? If you fucking sat in your room and jerked off like the rest of us. I'm a big old whore. You think I like this? No, but I don't want people to die. So, like, there was just
on her tombstone.
Yeah. Big dead whore.
Didn't want to kill anybody.
Yes. Fucking ethical non-monogamy, my ass. That's the problem, is like so many people that fall into the ethical non-monogamy, the polyamory world or whatever, they think just because they put this label on it that they're good people, but then they don't follow any of the rules, a lot of them. And I'm like, then you're just a piece of shit. And let's, that's, I don't think that's fine, but let's not pretend that you're not a piece of shit just because you wear like a rainbow pin or some shit. Were you at the fucking women's march with your pussy hat? Fuck you. So there was those people just trying to stick it in, and I was, and then also like when I was talking to people, there was like a level of, again, standards being raised, because now you're not just a fuckboy. Mm-hmm. Now you're someone who might come into my orb, and I don't know you like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you get up to. Mm-hmm. I don't know your, risk assessment. And a lot of it just became like not worth it to me. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, nope. Maybe you would have been cute before, but you're not tombstone cute. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's your qualifier. Instead of hot or not, would I die for you? Yes or no?
I mean, that a lot of people had to think that way. Like single people, it's been a tough year for that. So I kind of like put limited energy into it. And then once the infection rate in New York went down, and there were more tests, I started to be more open to like meeting in a park and this type of stuff. Then I went and got an antibodies test, and I got an antibodies test like 6 months after I had COVID, and I still had antibodies, which is like, from what I understand, kind of rare or like a little bit more on the longer end. So I felt safer. I felt like, okay, so this indicates that you had like a severe enough infection that your antibodies are still existing. We don't know anything about this still, really. I mean, we know some things. I think like virologists liken it to SARS, and there's other viruses in this same family, so we can sort of glean some, but I'm not a scientist, but I think I started to go, okay, it seems like I'm probably on the safer side to now go see people, eventually make physical contact.
I know, I had this vision of like, you know how like, oh, you'd go to the park and like you're sitting next to each other and like maybe a hand gets slipped under a skirt. But then I saw in my head like cartoon version of like, you know, the hands with like the hand on a stick. Like,
yes,
kind of like,
yes.
Suddenly my mind went there, that you're kind of like doodling each other.
With like fucking God.
First
back scratchers.
First you spray it with the antibacterial, of course.
Finger me with a glove.
Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
The most contact I've had, because like I haven't, my friend would come over every once in a while because she would bring her mom and her kid to come swim in the pool, and we would hang out in the pool. But they haven't come out in a while. And the most interaction I get is Instacart people, and I have like a little pulley cart. I just have them put it in the pulley cart, and I pull my pulley cart back in.
Nice. You got it, girl.
Yeah. And then I mean, and I had to wait till it got bad enough for me to go to a doctor's office. I started going to a chiropractor because my back was really acting up. And like, that's the most physical contact I've had in months.
Ooh, doctor. You're like, can you take my temperature again?
Can you make me feel better, Daddy?
I'll sit on your stool.
Oh my God. Actually, I think if anybody would appreciate this, it would be you. So one of the treatments that he's doing is TENS treatment, and I actually bought myself like a wireless one for here at home, but it's basically like electrical shock.
Ooh.
And sometimes it feels good, and I'm like, there's gotta be sex toys like this.
Sure. Yeah. Turn the rabbit on full speed or something like that.
But it's just like,
got like 10 vibrators on. Yeah, you got a motor on your back.
But it's something about the electricity pulses that I'm like, there's gotta be like electrical play. Billy,
there is electrical play. There fully is. Yeah,
okay.
No, there definitely is. Yep.
Well, speaking of electrical play, I think this is the perfect segue into one of the games that I have for you today. We've finished the Barbara Walters portion of the show.
Nice.
Now we open the curtain and Andy Cohen comes out. And so I put together specially just for you.
Aww.
Will, Andrea, date them.
Oh.
And I have both men and women because we know.
Thank you.
Yes. So we'll start with Rose from Get Out, the girlfriend from Get Out.
I have never seen Get Out.
She's not a nice lady.
Oh, then I'm in. If it's a bad person, you know I'm in.
They're all villains.
Yes, sure. Then everyone. But aren't they racist? I don't want to be like, yeah. So then no.
Okay. So
then no.
No to Rose.
Let me say this. I'm sorry to interrupt your game. Also, quick segue about dating in 2020.
Yes.
Not only is COVID part of it, also you got to go, hey, BLM ?
Oh, yes.
Because there's some people out there, you know, the George Floyd, all of the racial unrest, I guess we're going to use that word, you know, now that's also another like standard in which you must, not that I was dating racist people before, but like there's a questionnaire.
Yeah, I also stopped following like certain like, you know, performers, like not like big time ones or whatever, but like the local ones that like, you know, or whatever, or like you've met along the way. And I'm like, you are not saying anything now.
Yeah.
And I see you, but you have no problem posting a picture of your underwear in your dirty ass room.
No, get out of my fucking life. If this is not in the forefront for you, then I'm not interested in having you in my life. Nope.
Yeah, highly recommend. I just watched the entire first season on Netflix, Social Distance, if I'm not mistaken. And it's different episodes, and it's all kind of like in this POV.
Mhm.
And I don't want to spill it too much, but one of the episodes, there's a young lady who is very interested in somebody, and then along the way does some social media digging, and then suddenly realizes maybe not so much. And speaking
Ugh.
of assholes, Warner, the douchey boyfriend from Legally Blonde.
Oh no! Fuck no! Ugh. I went on a date with a rich guy recently because I was disassociating. Pass. Still no. Hate
Yeah,
them.
hard pass. Catwoman, specifically Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh yes, yes. Every time someone brings that bitch up, oh,
Hard yes, hard lady boner yes. Bill from Kill Bill.
Oh God, that is such a hard one.
Will Andrea date him?
Yes, like my heart says yes, my mind says no, and then my heart says, but my heart says yes.
What about Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones?
I actually have not seen Game of Thrones either, but
She fucked her brother.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, 2020. Incest, honestly, not even the top of my concerns.
She's the whole, remember the storyline, because Keith mentioned it, of the whole shame, walking down. That's Cersei Lannister.
Good for her. You slut.
Speaking of sluts, Jack from The Shining. I don't know.
Honestly, it's like you keep bringing up these like powerful, fucked up men who like kill their wives, and I'm like, the answer should be no, but you know my father figure, and
you're like, I'd go to a dinner.
Listen, here's Johnny.
Yes. Well, at least probably. You know that he can keep a house. I don't know.
For sure. Yeah.
Helen Sharp, as played by Goldie Hawn in Death Becomes Her.
Yes! Another great fucking movie. Yes, obsessed with that movie. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What about, and see, I'm so curious because I feel like he could be your type, but then maybe not, Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter.
You know what?
Because I feel like looks-wise, he's kind of your dude.
Yeah.
A little androgynous, looks like a snake a little bit.
Sure, but the Nazi stuff, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's Nazi stuff in there, and I don't fuck with Nazis, so it's going to be a no.
Hard no for Lord Voldemort. Sorry, Lord Voldemort. You're going to have to figure it out with Harry Potter. What about, this might be a little triggering, I apologize in advance, Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, she's a cunt, but like I would rather date a mean woman than a mean man, you know?
Just from your fashion days, I was like,
sure. Yeah, no, it's cool.
What about, and I feel like maybe in the comedy scene you've run into one of these, a Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars.
Oh, do you want to know something really weird about Jabba the Hutt? Is like that scene when he has the women on the rope, like he has women on chains and stuff, and they're all like getting all freaky around him. My pussy used to get wet for that shit. I was like, there's something so gross about it and wrong.
Probably the sounds too, because he has all
those pussy folds and tits and yeah. It was like this. It was like the BDSM-ness of it, and the fact that he was so gross and they were so hot that I was like,
I'm so glad I put it on the list.
Yep. These are the facts.
I have one more page. Will Andrea date them? Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad.
Yes, for sure. Yep.
I mean, you know the sex is going to be good.
Crazy bitches be good at fucking, and I say that as a crazy bitch. Self-proclaimed, you know, no shade, just these are the true facts.
It's one of the reasons why I've kept myself indoors.
Fair.
Speaking of crazy bitches, what about Gollum from Lord of the Rings?
No, because Gollum has no loyalty, and I hate when people don't have loyalty. Like, I can get past the fact that you're a little creature, but the fact that you, like, snitch on your friends, no. Mm-mm.
I thought the possessiveness would maybe turn you off, but I like your style. I like your style.
Mm-mm.
What
Poe's
about
got to be loyal.
what about Maleficent as played by Angelina Jolie? And I think I know the answer. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Goth as fuck. Angelina Jolie, I mean, Girl Interrupted, that awakened some feelings. Yeah. Gorgeous
Um,
woman.
I also feel like I know the answer to this one, but I'm so curious.
Mhm.
Tyler Durden, Fight Club.
Yes. Everyone in Fight Club. Everyone in Fight Club. The sexual this the actors in that movie are all like incredibly talented actors, and they're also all very attractive, but the characters themselves in Fight Club too are just like, that book's incredible. The violence that is like the undertone of that is, yeah, turns me on a lot. You blow up a building and we'll fuck on the rubble, like I'm into it. Yeah.
We already had one half of this couple. Now the other half, the bride from Kill Bill.
Oh, you mean Uma Thurman? Yeah, more than Bill, to be honest. Way more than Bill.
That's why I kind of like stacked it that way.
Yeah. She's bae.
We have just two more on each side to go.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I'm also so curious. I feel like it could go either way. I mean, he has an interesting taste in meals. Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I love Silence of the Lambs. Also, have you seen the new Silence of the Lambs on Netflix? There's
No.
like a TV series,
What?
and it's I think his name is Mills. It's like he's a Swedish actor, and I'm gonna look him up because he is like honestly the epitome of what I find attractive. And also him and one of the protagonists who plays a male detective have like a weird queer love. Like they don't overtly, but like definitely at the end you're like they're in love with each other, which also plays into my love of like queer male relationships. It is, oh my god, it is such a spank bank.
I'm so looking it up after this.
Yes. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at the name of that actor, but Silence of the Lambs as played by Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be an interesting conversation. The meal was
Intellectually
delicious.
stimulating. Yeah. I mean, I think, what I think about? It's like I have this obsession with predatorial men because of how I was raised, and also the patriarchy. And I think like part of it is my desire to understand them, just to be like, please, can I understand you so that like this world could make sense? And like the older I get, the less I care to understand them, because I'm just like, whatever then. I don't know, you're fucked up.
Yeah.
But another part of me also feels like I want to be the one that these predatorial men won't kill. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be like, because
you want to change him.
Yes, it's the same fucking abusive cycle, like woman shit that like I don't subscribe to, but it's so deeply ingrained in me that I think that is where this obsession comes with, is that like they're so damaged and fucked up and dangerous, but I'm so special that that's what Silence of the Lambs, that's a big through line of that movie.
Of course.
Is that like Jodie Foster is this, he finds
Clarice.
her and he would find it rude to kill her, and I think that's kind of like the template of my love language.
Fuck my pussy like I'm Clarice.
Yes. And then Miggs is going to throw cum at me, and you're going to be like, you're going to kill Miggs on my behalf. Like, it's all just horrible garbage that I'm trying to get rid of, but it's in there, man.
Amy Dunn, Gone Girl.
I actually have not seen that either, but let me look it up.
She's pretty vicious. She basically like makes everybody think that she disappeared and that her husband possibly killed her. But at the same time, she like is running game on somebody else, and she ends up killing that guy. And yeah, it's quite the trip.
I mean, any evil woman I have mad respect for. I'm looking for, although she's like blonde and boring. Yeah. I don't like blondes. So it's going to be a no for me. I have a basic looking person. Never does it for me.
Well, somebody who's not basic at all, and this is the last in the male category of, well, Andrea, date them. And it's been a strong yes for a lot of these.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Bateman, American Psycho.
Yes. You know what's funny? One of the dudes I'm slamming right now has like brought up on multiple occasions that he has very Patrick Bateman vibes, and he does. He's very showboaty. He's very handsome, kind of cold, but not like, when it comes deep down to it, he's actually a very like sweet, considerate guy. But he's kind of like, he's not chatty. He's kind of like mysterious when you first meet him, and like you know, he keeps
Reserved.
it behind the curtain, and there's this like resting psycho energy in the back, and I'm like, I love it.
Murder my pussy.
Yes. Oh my god, why am I so obsessed with murderers?
Did I know who I was preparing the game for?
Yeah, you really tailored this for me pretty hard. You're like a bunch of psychos and a bunch of hot bitches.
And the last hot bitch for you, Regina George from Mean Girls.
Nope. Nope.
Too
Blonde,
comfy for you?
mean.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Who's the goth girl in Mean Girls?
Oh, and she's been in a bunch of things.
Oh my god, what's her name?
I forget her. I'm like, I smoke way too much weed to remember actors' names anymore. But yes, she's really good.
Yeah, she's fucking cool. I would slam her. Also, okay, so the modern Hannibal in the TV show, his name is Mads Mikkelsen, and he's I believe Swedish or somewhere from that region of the world. And do yourself the favor and watch that show, because
I'm already getting a pre-lady boner thinking about it.
Get that wet ass pussy, girl. Mads Mikkelsen.
Well, I'm like, can I work a WAP out of this? Almost. The next game that I have for you, Andrea, is, which apocalyptic movie would you rather be living in?
This one. You mean this movie? Because we're already in it. So you can't have like dystopian artwork when we're in. It's arrived.
Well, let's see. The Purge versus Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, Mad Max for sure. Yeah, more fun cars.
Yes, Snowpiercer versus 12 Monkeys.
Snowpiercer, Canadian, love snow.
That's it for you. You're like, snow, cool. Have you seen Snowpiercer?
Nope, I haven't seen any of them.
Okay.
You had me at snow.
I highly recommend it. It's a really, really good movie.
Okay.
Wall-E versus Waterworld.
Oh, Waterworld's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I walked out of Waterworld in theaters with my family. We paid money to see that shit, and we left. Wall-E.
The Matrix versus A Quiet Place.
Oh, The Matrix. I love The Matrix. I watched The Matrix again in the core. Still great. Also, like, the fact that the directors of The Matrix are now both trans women, and like talking about how The Matrix was like a trans. I'm like, I always related to that movie. What? Because it's queer, and now I fucking know it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Everyone's androgynous. They're all in trench coats. They all have slick back hair. It's a vibe.
Don't tell the Q folks though.
The Q folks, fucking idiots.
Hunger Games versus Avatar.
Avatar, because LOL. Goofy fucking blue people.
And the last one, The Village versus The Truman Show.
Oh, The Truman Show for sure. Yeah. I am not entirely convinced that we're not in a simulation right now. So
I'm very pro the simulation theory. My mom still doesn't understand it after I've explained it 10,000 times, but yes, very pro the simulation theory in this house.
Yeah. Also, I was such a Jim Carrey stan when I was a kid. Number one, he's Canadian first and foremost, and also just like an incredibly gifted.
Yes.
I just was like enamored by him, and he's always been such a huge. It's unfortunate that it seems like he's just like an unmedicated bipolar now, but what a brilliant comedic force.
Amazing Joe Biden on SNL.
Ugh, I mean, yeah.
Well, this is the part of the show where I usually would do a speed round, but because Andrea has been on the show, this is where I challenge you, the listener, and or a new watcher on the YouTube channel to look up the previous shows that Andrea has been on. They've been a really fun time. So instead of a speed round, I'm just going to tell you to go download those shows. I will also link notes of this show.
Please do.
So, Andrea, we've reached the end of this silly little glittery pirate radio show. Where can the children find you on the social medias? Social medias.
Social medias. I love that. You can follow me at Andrea Comedy 69 on the gram. I'm getting thirsty and thirstier there, people. There's butt pictures, there's mental breakdowns. I mean, everything you could wish for and more. And, you know, as always, check out my podcast, The Hot Mess Comedy Hour. Check out my other podcast, Only in New York. And yeah, just fucking, you know, slide into the DM, say hi. Mad love for the SOFE pod people and for you. So yeah.
Yeah, you were like one of the first legit guests I ever had way back when.
Oh, hell yeah. Honored.
You can always find me on Twitter, MeMeCherry. If you want to find me on Instagram, add a good old ID to it, MeMeCherry IG. If you are watching this on YouTube, are you subscribed? Please, I'm a baby channel. It's a little baby. And I would love to maybe turn around some of this suckiness in the world in 2021, become a YouTube partner. And to do that, I need you all to subscribe and watch every single show that I put on this amazing channel for you.
Do it, people. What the fuck are you doing? Do it.
You cucks.
Cocks.
I love you, Andrea. I miss you. I wish I could give you a hug. There was like halfway in the show that I almost started crying, and like I just wanted to give you a hug so bad.
We will embrace in a few years.
2025 is around the corner.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, we shall see. But I feel like, to be honest, I know that the COVID numbers are still skyrocketing, and it's disgusting the way that the United States has handled it and everything. But I also feel as if at least we understand the dangers of COVID now, and we can do the best to keep ourselves safe. Some people are not doing that, and they should all burn in hell, to be frank. But, you know, at least we now can virtually connect with one another, and we can try to keep our loved ones safe as best as we can. And, you know, we'll just keep going, and all pandemics end.
Yes.
People do forget that. Like in the beginning of this, you know, I immediately was like, let's look at history.
Every pandemic.
Yeah. And, you know, they have time. People are like, this has never happened before. Of course it's happened before. There's pictures of people with masks on.
And there were anti-maskers then.
Exactly. I know. I think we feel like this is such a unique experience, which it certainly is. There are generations that have never lived through a pandemic. Absolutely. But I do think there's always solace in being like, let's look at history. Let's know that pandemics do end. Let's know that we have currently the best medical technology that we've ever had, that we have Zoom, that we have all these things. Like, you can choose to concede to this, or you can choose to like handle it in the best way possible. So I always think it is better to, you know, be grateful and be resourceful and move forward. So
I couldn't have put it better than that.
Yeah.
Love you all. Stay safe. Please go out and vote. If you haven't, vote early if you can.
Vote. I can't vote. I'm a Canadian immigrant in this fucking country. Please vote.
And vote early if you can.
Yes.
And that's it. Bye.
Bye.